All right, we're now recording. So I wanted to say welcome to kindergarten. For those of you who this is your first time, welcome to Northside also. We're really excited. It's been uh, an interesting year. At this time last year, we weren't able to have a kindergarten parent meeting and we didn't really know what this year would look like. So for all of us, this is a big deal. This is a big deal to have a much better idea of what we're looking at for next year, um, and being able to say we'll be in school actually in person. This is wonderful. Um, Before we really get started off on all the other information, I want to give my teachers an opportunity to introduce themselves. So if you could please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the group, I'd appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mrs. Conley, and I'm one of the kindergarten teachers. Welcome.
I'm Becky Coons. I'm another kindergarten teacher.
And I'm Fran Smith, another kindergarten teacher.
Not joining us tonight is also our office manager, Diana. Miss Diana, if you call here, if you have any questions, she'll be able to give you information on all kinds of things. So if there's ever a question, or you can always call me, but she can always pass along whatever information that you may need. Also, our school nurse, Veronica Sage, she is not joining us here tonight, but if there's ever questions you have about any shot record, physical, anything like that, she can always call you as well and get you that information if you need anything on that. So why are we here tonight? Well, because in 146 days, 146 days from today, on August 18th, your kindergarten student will join us here at Northside as part of the class of 2034. And I know that sounds weird, but it'll be here before you know it. And here we already are, the class of 2034. It's amazing, but that's coming soon. And you may think that's almost 150 days away, but it's coming soon. And there are a bunch of forms you have to get. So we want to give you as much of a head start as we possibly can on all of those things. So tonight, our goals, we're going to talk about what those required forms are. We're going to talk a little bit about our kids report card that we use here at Northside, your Dial 4 results that were mailed to you, and then at the end, just some miscellaneous information about some things here at Northside to make sure you're aware of those before you start in 146 days. First really important one is all of our required school enrollment forms. These things are required by the state. If you're wondering who comes up with these, the state tells us what different documents you have to have. First of all, the birth certificate. Please make sure that it is registered in the county, and then bring it in. We'll make a copy. We give it back to you, and then we're good. We won't need it ever again. The physical exam, the important thing to remember with this is it needs to be on the Illinois form. So you may go to a doctor, let's say over in Iowa, which is fine. Just make sure that the physical is done on the Illinois form. If you need an Illinois form, let us know. We can get you one. Also, if you ask them, I would think they would probably have one. But if not, when you are setting up your physical, make sure they have the Illinois form, because that is the one that we will need it to be on. We need a vision exam, and that must be completed by an eye doctor. So make sure when you're setting that up that it is scheduled with an eye doctor. Dental exam, an updated shot record, lead screen. Every year here, we will need an annual health information form. This just lets us know of any different things that have popped up in terms of your students' health, just to make sure that we can ensure that every day they're safe here. And if there's anything we need to be aware of or looking out for, which leads us to the last thing that we need on that form is food allergies. Miss Veronica told me to pass along, that is the most important thing that she needs to know. Are there any foods that or bee stings, anything like that? please let us know of any significant allergies that your student has so we can be aware of those before the year even starts. We'll also make sure that every adult in the building is aware of those things to look out for those things. But the food allergies, we check our menu every day against all known food allergies in the building. So please let us know about those things so we can check their food every single day and make sure that everyone is safe here. Are there any questions about what forms, what are needed, where to get them, things like that? I'll just, so you know, I'll hang on at the end of the meeting too. And if you have any questions for me and you want to just ask me there, that's fine also. I'm okay with that. Looks like there's no questions. So I'm going to move on to kids report card. This, if you've had students at Northside before, you are aware of this. If you're new to Northside and this is your first student to go into school, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this report card because it's different than what a report card looked like when I was in school. It's not letter grades. It's not even numbers like our standards-based report card. It is specific to kindergarten students, and it's 3 times per year, and we use it as our report card. The state of Illinois requires that within the first 40 days of school that we observe, that we don't, my teachers do, my kindergarten teachers and their staff, they observe the students throughout the first 40 days of school, and then they collect information on all types of different aspects of development, and then they input that information into what's called the kids report card. And that is required of every school in the state of Illinois, any kindergarten class. We also do it in the middle of the year and at the end of the year. That's optional, and that's something we choose to do. And that is the report card that you will receive on your kindergarten student. So just to give you an idea of what we'll be looking at on that kids assessment, that kids report card. We look at things like self-regulation. How curious are they? Do they take initiative in learning? Do they persist when activity becomes difficult? How do they share the space with other students? With social emotional development, a lot of different things of how they relate to the other students. Dramatic play. My goal for us next year here at Northside, we have a huge kindergarten center room that some of you with older students may have remembered that they went to every day. My goal next year is that things will be opened up enough where we get to open that back up. And as part of that, we have a flower shop and a vet clinic, and we've got an engine that kids put together, and we've got all kinds of costumes, and there's Legos and you name it. And everyday students go there and explore, and it gives the teachers an opportunity to observe the students and rate the students on all these different aspects of development. We also measure things like language and literacy development, letter sounds, communication, conversation, interest in reading. Do they understand age-appropriate text, letter and word knowledge, things like that. That'll be observed throughout the year as well, and they're rated on each of those components. There's also math in terms of understanding things like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to go back to my screen. I just lost it. There we go. Number sense, numbers and operations, measurement, different things like that. And then we also utilize our PE teacher, where he is looking at different types of fine motor skills, gross motor skills, different things, different movement. And then also our music teacher, they even rate that how well do the kids dance to a beat of music and understanding music and beats and things like that, drama. So we collect all this data and all these observations on the student, and then it'll look like this. And it rates the student where they're at 3 different times throughout the year. Now, I'll tell you now, and then it very well will come up at parent-teacher conferences. So when you ask, we'll tell you again, every year there will be someone that says, where should my student be? Where are they supposed to be? That's what I want to know. Where are they supposed to be? And my response to that is right where they are. Right where they are at is right where they're supposed to be. We are not in the business at Northside School of trying to rank kids, and we know they're developing and they're at different ages, and we're just letting them be kids and letting them develop at their pace. So there's no need to worry. And then throughout the year, as you receive these report cards, it will show you how your student progressed throughout the year. So you can see where they started, where they're at in the middle, and then where they're at the very end of the year. So like I said, it's a little bit different than a letter grade report card or even our standards-based report card, but it's much more descriptive. It's much more descriptive, and it's much more age appropriate for our kindergarten students here at Northside. So when that does come, if you have any questions, please call us. We can go over that with you and give you any information on any questions that you have. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd love to go over that with you. Any questions over the report card at this time? All right, what you will need to get now is your screening results, if you have those with you. If you don't, that's okay. Don't worry. I just want to explain some things on here so you know what it means, because there's a lot of numbers, a lot of information on this. What does it mean? What does it mean? So first of all, it's called a Dial4 screener, and it's administered when you brought your student in for screening. There was someone that did a different component of each component of the screening, and there's different things where students have to count, maybe stand on one foot, they cut out shapes. There's a lot of different things that are screened during that time, and then it's put into it's a standardized sheet, and then it's scored. And one of the things to keep in mind is the percentile rank is based on the age of your student. So we could have two different students get the exact same score, but their birthdays are different, so the percentile rank is different. It's going to rate them if they took that assessment, if they did the dial screener and they were 4 years and 200 days old, it's going to be different than someone who's 5 years and 10 days old. So keep that in mind as you hear about these percentiles. It's based on your student's age on the day of the screening. So we do the screener to identify students who may be in need of some more diagnostic evaluation or assessment. So it may be things like, you know, if we have some concerns about motor skills, we may need to have our occupational therapist do an observation when school starts. If there is a concern with speech and language, we'll have our speech and language pathologist do an observation at the beginning of the year. It is so we can get information ready, so we can hit the ground running at the beginning of the year. If there are any students who need any extra services or any other testing, we can be ready on day one. The Dial4 does not determine if someone has learning disabilities, if they have giftedness, anything like that. It's just a way for us to kind of tease out any concerns that there may be, so then we can pass that information along to someone who can do that test. So on those results, there are different scaled scores. And then with part of that scaled score, again, that we look at the student's birthday. So in this case, I used Anthony Rizzo, whose actual birthday is August 8th of 1989. And so we look at the score for each area, for each student, and then their birthday, and then it gives them a percentile rank. And their percentile rank, we then use that, and when we're creating classes, we try to make 3 classes that, as best as we can, that look identical. We try to have the same number of boys and girls and levels, and we want the 3 classes to look as close to identical as possible. And that's what we do with those scores. So looking at your percentile rank, if you want to look over that, so the score is out of 105. And then again, we look at your student's birthday and then rank them compared to all the other students who take that screener on that exact age, and it ranks them in terms of percentile rank nationally. There is no set score again to get. I want to say that. So each area is out of 35. And then we take that, look at their age, give them a percentile rank. But again, there's no set score. So if you're saying, well, my student got this score on one, this score on the other, should I be concerned? No, but if you are concerned, reach out to us. We'll go over the score. One thing I want to stress always when looking at this score, for some of you, you brought your student into a building they've never been in before, to work with adults that they've never met before, to do things that they've never done before. If you have a concern and you say, well, at home, I know they can cut. I don't know why they couldn't cut at school. Well, they were cutting with a stranger. And their whole life, you told them, don't talk to strangers, whatever you do. And now the stranger's having me cut this shape out. So it can be uncomfortable for kids. So don't worry if you're seeing things on there that you see at home, that's okay. That'll all come out. Once they get comfortable, those first couple of weeks of school, we'll see all that. It's nothing to be concerned about. But if you are concerned, please contact us. We'll be more than happy to go over those screening results with you and any concerns you may have. And like I said, we look at those and we say, we need to keep an eye on these students those first couple of weeks of school. And then if there still are concerns, we'll reach out to you to make sure that we're getting students any services that they may need to ensure that they're highly successful their entire school career. That's our job. That's our goal, is to always make sure all students are successful at all times. So last little bit, we've talked about the forms, we've talked about the kids report card, we've talked about these screening results. The last thing I wanted to talk about is just some basic things that if it's your first time coming here to Northside, to make sure you know about, and some things to make sure your student is ready for school 146 days from today. So make sure your child gets a good night's rest. I'm going to say too, that first week, right now it looks like we're starting on a Wednesday. So usually by Friday, they're exhausted, they're tired. So please make sure they get plenty of rest. And then by that second week of school, where it's a full day every day, they're going to be tired. So please make sure they get a full night's sleep. Right now, kindergarten lunch is at 12 o'clock, and then they go to recess after that, and they come back in, it's around 1 o'clock. Usually that first week, when they come back from recess at 1 o'clock and they sit on the carpet, some of them even have to fall over and want to fall asleep. They're exhausted. So please make sure that your student is getting plenty of sleep each night before school. A thing that would help us out a lot is read with your child at home as much as you can. You can ask them questions about, what do you see on the page? What do you remember from the story? You can have them retell the story, things like that. But even just reading with them at home is so important, because they're going to get so much more vocabulary and come in with so many more words ready to converse with other kids at school, and just to take on even more vocabulary. So the more you can build vocabulary with your students at home, it helps us out a bunch, and we'd really appreciate that. A big thing that would help us in terms of housekeeping things, begin teaching your child to tie their shoes and dress independently. When we have to change shoes to go to PE and then change back out of shoes out of PE, or put on snow pants and boots and coats and gloves and hats, going out to recess and then taking them all back off. The more independent that students are, the better it is for us. When we have 20 students, the more independence they have, the better for them here at Northside to help us keep moving along. Couple logistic things for Northside. School starts at 8:05, but we ask that you please be here before that. Right now, this year, you can drop your student off starting at 7:50. I'd imagine next year will probably be the same unless something happens. So feel free to drop them off at 7:50, and we have adults out on the playground, and we'll take care of your kids. You can drop them off and you can go. School starts at 8:05. We let them in. for the most part, I'm usually out on the playground a few more minutes after that, closing the gates and looking to make sure no one else is coming in. If you do pull up and you don't see anyone out on the playground, and let's say it's 8:10, 8:12, it's just safer. Drive around to the front of the building and bring your student up to the front. Just if you don't see us, bring your student to the front of the building so we know that they got into the school safely. Like I said, I'm usually out there, but in the event that I'm not, I'd rather them come in through the front than look for me out on the playground. If you are going to be dropping your student off at school, use the Cherry Street side, which is the playground side, or where the preschool drop off is right now. Just drop them off, let them out of the car, and then go ahead and drive off. That first day of school, I know that's different, and they're crying, and some of the parents are crying, and I understand that, but after a while, I know it's hard when they're crying, but we'll gun them in and we'll get them to work, and the tears will dry up usually within a minute or two, and they'll be all right. So if we do see that there's a problem with a student crying every day being dropped off, feel free. I'll walk them in. I'll hold their hand. I'll help them get going in class. But usually they're pretty resilient, and they just move on and start doing their work. But also to try to cut down on traffic on Cherry, if you can drop them off and then go ahead and leave, we'd really appreciate it so we can get everyone moving in the morning. We do offer half-day kindergarten if anyone is interested in that. The students attend until 12 o'clock, which is right when lunch starts. So they would go home right at lunch. However, if that is something you would like, then you would be responsible for their transportation from school to home at that time. You know, they can ride the bus in the morning with everyone else. But then at 12 o'clock, we can have them in the front office for you. We can have them all ready to go, but you would be responsible for taking them home. If you would like to have more information, there is a handbook available on the Morrison Schools website. Be looking at about mid-July for information. It'll be online on Skyward, and it'll probably be mid-July. You'll be able to register your student through Skyward. It's all done online, and it's done in the families and students section. If you go to the Morrison Schools website and you click on family/students, it'll say family access, and you can register your student on Skyward. If you're having any problems with that, please contact us and we can help you out and we can walk you through it. We usually have a couple Chromebooks available, so you can even come in and register your student here. If you need help with that, we can help with that for sure. At Northside, we have hot and cold lunch. If you want hot lunch, we will take that count in the morning from the students. So make sure your student knows if they're doing hot lunch or cold lunch each day. We do a snack break every day, and that includes milk. If you are free and reduced lunch rates and you want your student to have milk at snack break, that milk is not included with the free and reduced lunch rate. So currently it's 35 cents a day for milk. And if you want your student to drink milk, you just put the money into their account, their lunch account on Skyward, and then we withdraw it 35 cents at a time. And then if it gets below zero, you'll get a notice to put more money into the account. If you are interested in free and reduced lunch fees, there's a form that you need to complete in our district office, but don't go in to get that form until July 1st, because the state of Illinois changes the guidelines for who qualifies for free and reduced lunch rates every year when the fiscal year begins. So starting July 1st, they'll know the new rates, and it is dependent on family income and how many people live in the house. So if that is something that you need help with, stop into the district office. That's currently located in the junior high. So stop in there sometime after July 1st, and they can help you get that filled out, and we can move along from there. So all of that being said, I know I threw a bunch of information at you tonight, and I know it can be overwhelming, and I know for some of it, I went over it tonight, and by the time July 1st rolls around, you may have forgotten it. Please call us at any time. We're here 7:30 to 4 every day. My email is up there right now. Email me at any time. I will get back, and unless I'm asleep, I won't be able to get to your email, but anytime from 6 in the morning until 10, 11 at night, I will respond to your email for sure if I'm available. So if there's ever any concern about anything ever, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or to your child's teacher. We're more than happy to help you with anything you may need. With that being said, I'm going to stay on now if there's any questions from anyone, but that's all I have for tonight. So please, there is a question in the chat. If I know if school will be getting out the same time at 2:20, I don't know any of that information yet. I will tell you what my goal is. My goal for next year is for next year we'll be in school 5 full days a week. My goal, I really hope we're at school until 2:55. That doesn't sound like a lot, that extra 30 minutes, but I can tell you on the education side, that extra 30 minutes a day or 150 minutes a week, an extra 2.5 hours a week, that's really valuable to us here. So I don't know what dismissal time will be next year, but my hope and my goal is that we'll be getting out at 2:55, normal, typical time. If anything like that changes, I will definitely let everyone know. And there'll be information that goes out to all parents once we have a better idea. But right now, I believe we'll be here 5 full days a week next year. That's my belief. Is there any other questions? Like I said, I'll stay on. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So if anyone wants to stay on and unmute and ask me any questions, I'm more than happy. All the paperwork due by the first day of school. And if even if you can't get it in by then, that's okay. We'll work with you and make sure we don't want to forbid any students from coming to school because of paperwork, but preferably by the first day of school would be great. I know it's difficult too with vision and dental, especially getting those scheduled. So if it takes a little while into the school year to get those things completed, that's okay too. Rough estimate of class size, mentioned around 20. It'll probably be, my estimate at this time is probably around 20. That's the way it looks currently. If that, there's always students that move in and out, but I'm going to say roughly about class size of about 20. Someone's asking when you will know who your child's teacher is. We'll know that. That'll probably be about the week before school starts. Week to 2 weeks before school starts because of how often we have students that move in, move out, and all of a sudden this year was even worse where we could end up with a class of 25 and another one was 17. And so we're moving kids up into the last minute to make those numbers as equal in every class. Question about how current the lead screening has to be within the past year. Is I believe is correct. Within the last years when the lead screen has to be within a year, I think, of the first day of school. I can check with, I'll check with the school nurse on that, and then I will send out a message to make sure everyone knows how current the lead screen has to be. Kindergarten Experience Day. In a perfect world, we would love to have a kindergarten experience day, and we've been trying to figure out, we had talked about trying to figure out ways to make this happen. Unfortunately, at this time, there's really no way to make that happen. We don't have any more half days remaining. We have some early dismissals, but those are dedicated towards working with remote kids. We're also concerned about COVID exposure and things like that. And so for this year, there will not be a kindergarten experience day. And for that, I apologize. I wish things were different. And I hope in the future that we can return to that level of normalcy of having an experience day. But at this time, there will not be an experience day. for those of you wondering what is Kindergarten Experience Day, what we've done in the past, on the last half day of school, it's usually in May, April, May, right in there. We have all the students come in and they get to work in class on some different activities and meet other kids in their class and see the building and get a look around at what does school look like and what do the adults look like and different things like that, just so they get a little bit of an idea of what kindergarten will look like. We do some fun different activities, but again, we won't be able to do that this year. So if you have other students, hopefully later on that are still going to be coming to Northside, hopefully later down the road, we'll be able to do our Kindergarten Experience Day again. I really hope that this is the last time we're unable to do it. Any other questions about anything at all? Like I said, I know I threw a lot of information at you and I apologize for that, but if there's one important thing, I guess, that I can stress to you, for those of you who are new to Northside, who this is your first student coming to Northside, I want you to know that your students are in great hands. We have a building filled of adults that do everything within their power to ensure that every kid feels loved from the minute they walk onto the property until the minute they walk off the property. And that is not just while they're here. We make sure kids know once they walk into this building, they're ours for life. And at Northside School, we go out of our way to make sure every kid knows they are loved all day, every day. And even when they're bigger grown-up kids, we still love them then. So any of you that have any worries, I know I'm biased, but if you want to ask any of the other parents in town, I think from what I hear, I think they would agree that our number one priority here is loving kids. And if we focus on loving kids and taking care of kids, reading and writing and math and all of those other things will follow after that. But that is our number one priority. Again, I'm going to stay on. Feel free to leave if you have no other questions. Again, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. It is not what our parent meeting typically looks like, but I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. We really look forward to seeing you in the fall. It's going to be awesome. Thank you so much.